Welcome to another Airbrush Asylum live. In today's live tutorial, I'm going to show you how to airbrush a zombie artwork. This is kind of a cartoony style zombie, but we're going to learn lots of different techniques, color blending, shading, as well as some texturing and that sort of thing. So I am going to quickly show you the reference image. So this is what we're going to be working on. So you can see here, and by all means, get a screenshot if you wish to follow along. So you can see there's, a nice glow here of that yellow, that sort of magenta color there as well. Obviously, this is more of that cartoon style. However, I'm going to put in a bit of airbrush flavor to it and in my style. So hopefully you enjoy the stream. So we will get started with the first tones, mix them up. So we've got a few people joining already. If you are here and watching, definitely comment, tell us where you're from. So we've got Giovanni DVZ from Puerto Rico. I hope I pronounced that correctly. We have Mr. Crazy Ivan 01 watching from Perth. Great work. Thank you. Thank you. Haven't started yet, but I hope it turns out well. Thanks for joining. And I've got Meg in the comments as well. She's over on Facebook as well as YouTube. So she will be moderating the comments for me. So thanks to my wife, Megs. We have Marwan Dean from Saudi Arabia, watching from Saudi Arabia. Fantastic. Thanks for joining. So we've got a few people in here already. If you wouldn't mind, share it out. That would be handy. And before we go too far into everything, I do want to say thank you to our sponsors, SPRAYGUNNER, who are sponsoring this live stream, and SPRAYGUNNER.com. I'll just show you. So they have a stack of different airbrushing products that you can order. Doesn't matter where in the world you are. They ship fast. They have all different brands from GSI Krios, Badger. They're even their no-name brand, which you've probably seen me use a few times. So Awada, GAAHLERI. So lots of different brands available. Plus they sell models, compressors, surface preparation, paintables, tapes, pretty much everything you need. You can see some of the brands listed there. So thanks again to them for sponsoring these live streams. We really do appreciate it. And if you do need airbrush products, then definitely check out SPRAYGUNNER.com. I'll just go back to this one here. Just give me 2 seconds. I just dropped out with my reference image. Okay, so here we have it again. So, like I said earlier, this is what we're going to this is what we're going to work on. Now, I am working on a canvas. So this is 200 by 200 mil. And you can see I have already drawn up the zombie. Now, how did I do that? I will show you. So what I did was I printed it to scale. So this is just out of a normal printer. And on the back, I used a chalk pencil. Right, so I like using the General's chalk pencil if you do want to know about what brand I use. And it's hard to see on the video, but this is like a sort of tan color, dark tan. Once I drew that out on a light box, I flipped it back over, lined it up on my canvas, and then just using an HP pencil, I just drew over the top of it to transfer it over onto the canvas. So that works well. Obviously, you can also use projectors, and there's carbon paper, many different other applications and ways to get the artwork on canvas. The reason I did it this way is because the drawing was, I was able to print out the reference to scale. So that made it easy enough for a 200 by 200 mil canvas. If it would have been a bigger canvas or a wall mural, something like that, then I would definitely use a projector or another method. I've also done the grid method for really large murals. So whatever works. but I just thought I'd show you basically my method for this particular artwork. Okay, so going back to the reference, you can see in here, all this area here, we've got that sort of off green skin color that you typically see most zombies have, for those of you that have seen zombies. Okay, so I'm going to mix that up now. So to do that, let's go to this one here, and I'm going to get an empty bottle, right? And we are using the No Name brand of paint. So this is, of course, by our sponsor SPRAYGUNNER. And starting off with some white, I'm going to tip some of that in the bottle just to make my base color. Now, just using this unthinned, so you can add some reducer to it, but I found this brand works really well as is straight out of the bottle, which makes it nice and easy to use. Okay, so we've got the white in there, and then I'm going to use a bit of dark green. Okay, and I'm going to probably put, I reckon, let's go with 2 drops of dark green, and I'm going to use some sepia or sepia. I've been corrected, so whatever is correct, go with that. I'll just do 1 drop of the sepia and then give that a shake, and we'll see how that's looking. And I can already tell that's not too bad, but I think it needs to be a little bit more sort of a bit more of a browny hue, so I am going to add a little bit more of the sepia in there. So let's go another drop. Just do drop by drop. These are 50 ml bottles, so I'm probably mixing up, I don't know, 10 ml, if that. He's going to need a bit more. All right, add a bit more. Remember too that that was 2 drops. That was a bit of an accident. Doesn't matter. These things happen. It's live. We just go with the flow. I'll come back to the comments in a minute, guys. Just get this base color mixed up. Okay, so look, I'm going to go with that. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see how that looks on the canvas. Now, to start, I'm going to be using the Creos PS289. And pop that straight into the color cup. And let's just give that a go and see what that looks like on the canvas once I spray some on. It's pretty light, but like I said, we just want a base on there, and then I'll bring toning on top. I'm pretty happy with that to start with. Let's just run with that. All right. Now that we know that the color has gone pretty nicely, let's just go back to this view here, and I'll just jump into these comments. Okay, so we have we've got Brad Redmond watching from Wollongong. G'day, Brad. Marwan Dean loves our videos. Thank you. We have Guy Nani watching from Israel. Thank you very much for watching. Hello to you. And like I said, guys, if you are in here, let us know where you are watching from. And also, if you wouldn't mind, give it a thumbs up, share it out. We are multi-streaming to YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Twitch. So hopefully all those platforms are flowing on nicely. All right, so what I want to do is just get that flat tone in there. So let me just quickly jump back onto here. So I just want to focus on flat toning all of the skin area. So don't worry too much if you get a bit of overspray in any other areas. And that's why I'm doing this now, because the reason being is this is the first tone to lay down. because then I can run my reflection and that glow from this really strong yellow onto the skin of the zombie, and I can also bring in all of my detail on top. So always try and work out your artwork and figure out which basically step by step works best, and that's how you sort of work out your artwork and the colors that you're going to use and in what order you're going to use them. Okay, so we'll just go to here. Okay. So as always, keeping the air press down at all times and just pulling back on that trigger. I'm running my compressors at about 30 psi. You can see I'm not spending too much time on this step. I really just want to get that base on there. Underpainting is always very important. And be sure to stick around for the video because I'm going to give away another course. So our introductory airbrushing course. So we will do a giveaway later on, but you need to be present in the stream. So stick around so that you don't miss that, especially if you've always wanted to learn how to airbrush. It's the easiest and best way to learn how to airbrush. Really intuitive, everything's laid out for you. Easy to follow steps. And for those of you that have watched my YouTube videos, I'm sure you're familiar with the way I explain and teach. So hopefully it's clear enough for everyone. All right, so just really getting that on there. So not spending too much time. Canvases are great to work on, fairly forgiving, not overly expensive either to buy. You could also use aluminium composite panel. I love working on that, but it is more difficult. Another really good surface to work on is t-shirts or t-shirt material if you just want to go and buy t-shirt material. It's a lot more forgiving, and the beauty of t-shirts is that when you press down for air, you can actually see where the paint is going to come out because it makes a bit of an impression on your t-shirt, which is a great thing for beginners and something that we used to always do in our beginners class. Okay, so that base is on there. It doesn't look that great yet, but give it time. Just get these base colors in. Now switching airbrushes, and I'm going to go to yellow, okay? So now using the Mobius by GAAHLERI. This is the 0.2. And we're going to focus on working in this section here. All right, so blast all that in. I'll also lay a bit of yellow down where the eyes are, a little bit on here in the teeth, and you can see in this section here as well, and up here, and a little bit down there. All right. Doesn't have to be exact to the reference, so don't stress. So just quickly, while I've got you, we have Nari Manaliev, I hope I got that right, watching from Russia. G'day, and hope you're enjoying the videos. We have Clint's 8888 from Melbourne. G'day, g'day. Okay. So with that yellow on this area here, just going to base that in there. And you can see how bright that is. That's what I want. So super bright. That's why I'm doing this in this early stage. And give it a couple of coats. Again, this is just straight out of the bottle. This is flowing really nice, this yellow. And this is part of their primary set that SPRAYGUNNER sell. This is that no-name brand. So you can see I'm adding in some of the yellow in certain areas. So just above where the eyebrows are, I'm going to dust in the eyes. So don't stress at this stage. It is going to look a bit weird. But this is just getting the toning in there. And then I can refine everything later. I'm also not going to wash out these colors yet. I'm going to keep them in the airbrush. And that way, if I think I need to add a bit more yellow here and there, I can. Add a bit of a glow coming off that side there, the side of the zombie's head. So remember, colors blend nicely with the airbrush. So you can cut out a lot of steps as far as just building up slow bases by using the color and blending on the surface. Okay, so almost done with that yellow. Okay, now that we've got the yellow done, I will go to red. Sorry, not red, magenta. So magenta. And this is the other Mobius now, the 0.3. Okay, go over here. So now I'm going to bring the magenta in. Blending it over the yellow that I've already got there. So like I said just before, I'm mixing on the surface. Patterns into the background as shown on the reference. You can also use the splatter stencil. So I'll do a bit of that as well, just to break it up. Up close to where you want to control the overspray. leaving those areas where the blue will be airbrushed in of the jacket. You can hardly see these lines now. So if that's too difficult, then you can definitely draw it up with a darker grey lead or darker pencil. Just keep in mind that it may not disappear within the artwork. You might still have some pencil lines after it. Angling the airbrush so that essentially I'm getting the overspray traveling towards the top. Bringing back into that glow. Starting to shape up a bit now. And now I'm going to bring some in on the lips. So you could switch to red, but I'm just going to continue with that magenta. You can see how I'm just dusting over things just to have a bit of that color in there. Add in a little bit of texture here and there. Same with the ear. Pull out a bit of that detail. Again, don't get disheartened. Paintings tend to look a bit ugly when you first start off. Around the eyes. So you can see that magenta is useful for quite a few areas. A bit heavier on the base of the eye. And the same deal around the other one. Bit of a blood splatter in here. So I'll just use that magenta and the template just to get it in there. Bit of texture as well. And then I'll run a little bit along here as well. Kind of move the stencil while I'm doing it. Got a little bit over the teeth, but that's okay. It's a zombie. It's forgiving. Airbrushing a bit of the tongue. You can see I'm not detailing at the moment, I'm just getting the colors in. The guns. Just trying to map in the ear. Okay. Now switching to blue, but I'm going to start with a light blue. And I'm probably going to have to clean out some of these colors as I go. Let's get a light blue in there. Let's jump through, and we've got Marilyn from Texas. Hello. Thanks for joining. And also, if you're interested, there's some details about our online airbrushing course. And let's just go back to this. Actually, we'll go here. So I just want to focus on this area here now. So this part of the top of the jacket, the collar there. You can see here there's not much blue at all, but I'm going to lay in some blue in here and establish some of the hair. So let's go ahead and do that now. Just testing it in the corner, making sure I'm happy. Looking pretty good. You can see here what I've done is, if you compare it to the reference, I've actually put that glow too far over from the yellow. So it's actually on the jacket, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. Just leave it in there. Don't stress if you make a little bit of a mistake here and there. Just make it work. Remember, once you've done your artwork, no one's going to see the reference. Now there is a little bit of blue in here. I'll put that in. Not much, but just a little. And a little here. And then the eyes. So up close, just flat tone them in. And you can colour them in totally, even though you got that pupil. It's okay. Just getting in the eyelash, sorry, the eyebrow. Just putting a light blue tone down first. Blasting that in. And then the other one. Nice and colourful for a zombie, which is cool. And there's a bit more hair here, which comes onto the ear. And some coming out of here as well. So because this light blue has some white in it, you do have the luxury of working back over some of those areas. And dusting just some blue into some of the areas of the skin to mess up that skin tone a little bit. Normally you wouldn't say that, but for a zombie it always looks good. Okay. Chuck some in the nostril as well. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is give that a bit of a clean. So I'm just going to tip this back in. Blast out my airbrush a couple of times. And then using blue, I'm going to add in blue and shape that area a little bit. And then start shaping it with the darker tones. And if you've only just joined us, just letting you know that later in the stream, I am going to be giving away our online course to someone. So stick around. You have to be on the stream to enter. And one lucky person will win. All right, almost done. Okay, we have blue. I've still got some of the residual light blue in there. I'm just blasting that out until this runs dark. And switching back to this. Remember, if you're watching, please share it out. Okay, so now up nice and close to see how that blue looks. You can see it's a lot darker. So I'm going to use that just to shape a bit of this. Just to get some of the collar detail in there. Swap out some of this here. I'm working over my mistake essentially, but it's the beauty of live. If I make a mistake, you're going to see it. Just keep going. Don't give up. Can also come in with a bit of a texture template and run a bit of texture in there just to rough it up a little bit. This section here, a bit darker and sharper to pull this part of the collar out. You can see how the underpainting goes from messy, and then as I start going sharper and sharper, it starts to slowly build up and you start to get some of the detail out. The eyebrows, so leaving some of that blue in there, just doing dagger strokes or rat tail strokes, whichever way you want to call them. Same thing, just sort of flicking out from there. You can be pretty messy with them. And also use this blue to shade on top of that violet, and then what will happen is it will essentially turn purple. Starting to get a bit more shape into it. Still looking a bit average so far, but it will get there. It's a layering process. And the other one, same process. Thickening up this side just to blend it in a bit more. And you can colour areas in to make them thicker. Remember, I'm still going to come in with a darker tone. So this isn't just the only part that I'm going to be doing. Okay, pretty much done now. I'm near enough done with that blue. I'm going to just shade here a little bit. And look, I may as well run some shadow using this tone just to shape it a bit more. And also, it's a bit more forgiving doing it this way rather than switching straight to, say, a dark sepia tone and then mucking up. This way, if you're not happy with something, you can kind of leave it. And as long as you don't work back over it with the next tone, it'll be fine. You see how nicely that shades. A little bit of uneven texture along there. See now over that yellow, might not be coming out clearly on the video, but it's getting a bit of a green tinge. So that blue is obviously mixing with that yellow to make the green. Pull some of this detail out too while I've got it. You can see it's starting to shape up a bit more now. Also using the blue to just re-establish some of my lines, because I did lose quite a few of them. So this is just a good little way to almost sketch everything back in. Yeah, a little bit of tip drawing. It's pretty normal. All right, I'm just going to have to give this a bit of a flush through. Got a bit of tip drying happening. So while I do that, you can take a look at the reference. and just focus on some of those areas that I'm working on. And if you are following along, you can make sure that you've got everything in the place where you need it currently, as far as colors, shades, the detailing so far. Okay, let's see if we get this flowing a bit nicer. Tip drying, it's just always a nightmare. Doesn't matter what you do. Okay, so up here. Bring that in. Shape that a little bit. Back to the nostril. Got some flow happening now. Just blast that in. You've actually cleared out a bit of that dried paint. Flowing much nicer now. Sometimes that's all you need. There's a shadow in this section and some distress to the skin. There's a hole in this part here. I know it's not going to be the final color, but just getting that in with the blue. Working in the ear. Dust that in. That's going to be darker in here. And darker in these bits. So just adding some of that blue in just to pull out some of those darker shades so I know where I'm going with it. And it's starting to shape up a bit more now. Run some creases in the headband. And a bit of texture. I will go back to this. Get some of that in there as well. So you can see the combo of freehand and texturing works nicely. Don't feel you have to do everything freehand, just whatever works. Okay, do the splatter. Do that with this one. Over here. The texture. And I'll do the same. Just get a bit of texture in the zombie skin. It's only subtle. It will disappear with the other layers. Okay. Bit of shading in here. Shading in here. Nice and close to that iris. And then using this template, it's going to hit the edge. Let's give it a bit of a sharper, defined edge. We'll come back in with the darker tone later. Okay, so we're getting some depth and detail, and we've got some toning in there, which is good. So now I'm going to switch to another airbrush. And we're going to start adding in some darker tone just to shape it a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with some sepia. Oh, it's on this side. I reckon that'll go nicely and balance well. So just this one here, straight in the cup. And we'll see how that performs. Now let's have a look at the comments. Skim through some. Okay, a few people asking about stencils. SPRAYGUNNER do sell stencils, so yes. Yes, you can. So spraygunner.com. I'll just chuck that up here so you can have a look at it. Oh, hide that one. Yeah, we also do sell stencils for everyone in Australia. Some overseas shipping will be coming. So I'm just going through and skimming. A few good conversations happening. Dingo Dunsky says no name paint. Yes, that's what I'm using. So thanks for pointing that out. Okay, this one from Lemore Crazy. How to prep helmets or potentially for a future live stream? Yeah, maybe. There's a lot to it, depending on what helmet you're working on. I used to, when I did do commissions, I used to outsource all of that. So basic rule of thumb is if it's a clear-coated helmet or it's got some stickers on it, you'll have to remove the stickers. If it's really bad, then you have to prime the helmet, virtually starting from scratch. If it's just got a clear coat on it, then generally wet sand with an 800 wet and dry, you can do your artwork on it and then re-clear it. Even with the clear coating process, I always outsourced it to custom painters as well as the prep. So all I had to do was do the airbrushing, and then that way you're not sort of liable for any issues if they do arise, because there is a lot of stuff that can go wrong when you start doing clears and prepping, and especially if you're not a qualified spray painter. So if you're not, then I'd recommend that you get a professional to do it. If you're a spray painter, well, then you're good to go anyway. So you'd know what to do. It's not an issue if you do know, but yes, it can be a problem and it can get costly. So just be wary of that. But good question. Thanks for that. That's cool. Hippy dippy gypsies doing airbrush painting on an old mirror. Very cool. Okay. So now with that sepia, let's go and define it even more. So we'll see how this tone looks. So I like to go into the darkest spot and just sort of start to work in there, and that'll give me an indication of how that will appear. And I'm pretty happy with that. So up nice and close now, because I want to be a bit sharper and start to really pull out some of this detail. I'm also going to put some of the texturing in there. So this time a bit more freehand texturing. And this is the SPS 771. Also available from SPRAYGUNNER, or if you are located in Australia, we do have these at the moment and they are on sale. Plus they come with a free copy of Airbrush Step-by-Step magazine, an added bonus. And at the time of this video, they're usually $3.50 Australian. At the moment, they're on special at $2.99. However, we only have 3 left in stock. So we will be restocking, but then the price will go back up to $3.50. These run a 0.18mm needle nozzle setup. Super fine. They're Japanese made. Great airbrush. Okay, so just a bit more detailing and shaping with that sepia or sepia. I know someone's going to call me out on it, so if I say both, then it can't be wrong. And again, thank you all for joining. I really do appreciate you spending your valuable time watching me paint. Okay. And if you joined late, just to let you know, we are giving away a free airbrushing course. So let me just put up our little banner. Oops, sorry, hang on. Yep. But you do need to be present in the stream to win it. So I'll do that draw at the end. And again, thanks to SPRAYGUNNER as well for sponsoring. Really appreciate it. And if you want any airbrush supplies, check them out at spraygunner.com. So this is where the artwork will start to sort of shape up now. Well, at least I hope so. And you can see how that underpainting is working, plus how nicely that tone goes even over the blue. Just blends in nicely. Another bit of the stuff up here. This is meant to be magenta. a little tie from the bandana, but not too worried about it. It can stay yellow. I can always bring some magenta back into it. You can see I skip around too. So I'm not just in one area. Teeth, a lot of people freak out with teeth. The key is paint what you see. Good thing with this one is it is cartoony, so you can kind of get away with it. When I say get away with it, get away with you know, running a line right around the entire tooth. Generally, you wouldn't need to do that. I'll tone back over as well his teeth. So and a bit of a dusting. Just to blend it in. Yeah, a little bit of tip drying happening again. So just giving that a quick blast out to clear it. Put the tongue in here as well. Just roughly outline that. And then colour in these sections here. So I'm pulling out where the teeth are and then dusting back over them. Now dusting over that tongue and knocking back some of these teeth as well. Bit of a shadow on the bottom here. So you can see even though that tongue's there, I'm working back over the top. And running some shading. Going along here. So you've got to paint them in and then dust back over it. And a bit of a shadow along here. And then a bit of a shadow with that template as well. Okay, we are getting there. How much better it starts to look once you get these darker tones in. Get those pupils in. Detail around the eyes. So you can see I'm working in all the darker areas first. The areas that I kind of call safe zones. with the little dagger strokes. Detailing around that eye. You don't want to go over too much of what you've done. You don't want to kill those colours. Bit of shading. Getting a bit more tip drying than I would normally would. We had a really hot day here yesterday. It was 45 degrees Celsius. And the studio is still warm and humid. So it's not helping at all. That's okay. Let's make it work. A bit of shading on the eyes. This side as well. we're getting there. Tip drying is slowing me down, playing a bit of havoc. More shaping in here. Pull out some of this detail. And a hole in there in the skin. Still a bit more texture, these texture templates. Simulate that zombie skin. We'll do a little bit as well in the eye, just in the shading of the eye. Just want to be careful not to go too heavy. All this little texture that really makes a difference. Okay. I'll blast that out, and what I'm going to do next is come in with some white highlights. Okay, so I'm going to tip this sepia back, and then I've already got a black mixed with a transparent base, which I'm going to use. Let's jump back into these quickly and see what people are commenting. I got some good convos going. Someone has -4 today. Wow. Completely opposite to what we've had. That's for sure. Went through 40+ summer without aircon. Yeah. Bugger that. Not fun. Yeah, here in Melbourne, the temperature just drops. It's ridiculous. It can go from 40 degrees, and then today was about closer to sort of 30, 25, 30. But yeah, it just drops so much that most people here, they just can't get used to it. Definitely not steady temperature. Salty Jean says the zombie looks cool as hell. Thank you. It's getting there. Hopefully wrap it up fairly soon. Sorry, I'm just skimming the comments. Well, thank you. Flames and Skulls are well done by AA. Appreciate it. Love Flames and Skulls. I don't think I ever get sick of it. Been drawing skulls since I was in grade 6. So I remember the teachers telling me, you're not going to amount to anything. You're drawing on your school books with skulls. And I used to put mohawks on them and all sorts of stuff. And yep. Wonder if they're watching now. Hi from Wales, UK. Jack Hat. G'day. How are you? All right. Back to the reference. So give you guys a second just to have a look at that. And I'm going to pop this trans black in there. But before I do the trans black, I might actually put a bit of reducer in as well. Now with the reducer, I've explained this a few times, reducer or thinner, same thing. Your paint company will basically determine what they call it. So for instance, for the no-name brand, so the paint that I'm using now, it's called reducer. It's the same for Trident. Pretty sure it's the same for Createx. I don't use a lot of Createx, mainly just the illustration colors. I do love them. I do have some here. These ones here. So they're really good. What was I saying? Thinner. Yeah, so basically thinner or reducer. And just thin it to your liking. I generally work on 30% paint, 70% reducer for really bright, 30% paint, 70% reducer for detailed airbrushing at 18 to 20 PSI. And for general airbrushing, a 1-to-1 ratio is a good way to start, and at about 30 PSI. But just work in, basically whatever works for you. All right. Okay, let's get some highlights in this thing. So there's not that many sort of obvious highlights in here, but again, this is a cartoony style. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus more on these sort of areas here, just to get a bit of brightness in there, as well as on the teeth. Probably a little bit on, maybe on these parts of the eye. Maybe, we'll see how it goes. In here, pull out some of these tears, that sort of thing, in the skin. So just a couple of spots. I'm not going to go overboard. So less is more a lot of the time. So Just take your time. So let's see how this performs. I need to just test my white. Let's see. We'll try it. Not having much luck at the moment. Just give me a second. Okay, Airbrush is having a hissy fit. Okay, try again. Okay. Okay, that's not liking it. Skip that. I'll still do the white. I'm just going to grab another airbrush. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be back. Show you that again, just so that you can check that out. While I flush out an airbrush, I'm actually going to clean one out and run with that instead. Won't be a moment. Again, the joys of live. Okay, almost done. Hopefully this one will behave itself. Nearly done. So again, if you're enjoying it, share it out. See if we can get some more people in here. Okay, white. Let's see how this goes. I don't need to do a lot of white, so we will see. Right, let's go. Working a bit better. Little bright white highlights on the tongue, even though they're not in the reference. Oh, let's slide it out on me a bit. We'll come back to that. So you can see I'm not going over everything, just pulling out a couple of key pieces, key highlights I mean. Now let's go with that trans black and pull out some of that detail. Okay. You can see that black, how that just punches that out. You don't have to go over everything. Just kind of shape it, and I'm working up nice and close just to get a nice sharp defined edge. So why do I do the highlights before the final tone? You can come back in and do them as well once you've completed your final tone, but the reason being is I like to have that nice sharp sort of contrast without any of that white overspray. It's very easy to get white overspray. Even if you're up super close and you keep your stroke nice and tight, it's still quite easy to, you know, get that little bit of dusting, and then it looks horrible when it's over a dark color. So by doing the white, I always do it generally second last tone. I find that way I get a nice clean look, and then I can obviously come in at the end if I need to and just add in any final ones that I think need brightening up. You can see even with that sepia, it, you know, gave a lot of shape to the zombie, but now with this tone, I can really punch out that detail. And look, I mean, I'd probably spend more time. I'd probably spend, say, 3 hours on something like this generally. I'm kind of speeding it up a little bit, making it a bit more stylized so that you can follow along and learn, and we're not sitting here all night. I know my wife wouldn't be impressed if I was out here for 6, 7 hours, or even 4 hours that she has to moderate the comments. So and even having that sepia base makes a big difference. It sort of takes the edge off the black a little bit as well, so it sits nicely on top. dusting back over certain areas. So like I said earlier, I paint them in and then I shade back over the top. And it gives it that sort of 3D appearance. Same thing now with the gums. There's a bit of a shadow. You see, I'm not going over everything. I'm not outlining the complete tooth. I'm just picking out some of these darker areas. You can see I'm jumping around as well from area to area, so it's kind of the way I paint. I find that way my eyes kind of adjust to that area again, and I kind of pick up on things that I may have missed. But if you prefer just working in one section, by all means do so. Whatever works for you. If you wanted this to be even brighter than it is, then what you could try and do is replace some of the colors that I've shown you with fluoro colors, and that'll give you a nice bright base, and then just build your shadows and highlights on top of that and your texturing. I'm going to redo these. Okay, that needs just a bit of a dusting. You can also notice how dark that sepia looked, and now that I'm coming in with that transparent black, it makes that look really light now. getting there. Working in the ear. Okay, more shading here, a little bit of texture to come in as well. Okay. We'll just come in with my, where is it? Just want to come in with my magenta. So just trying to find that at the moment. I think it's this one here. Yep. And I'm just going to brighten up some of the areas. Just very carefully, not going over everything. Dust in here a little bit. Just going to go a bit brighter. More in the gums again. And I can tone this. As I said before, made a bit of a mistake, so I just blend that in. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is A little bit more white highlighting, and we're done. Thanks again to our sponsors, SPRAYGUNNER.com. Hope you're enjoying the stream. And I'm going to thin out the white a little bit more, just so that I get a bit more flow. However, I don't want to compromise either on getting coverage. So it still has to cover, but we're going to try going a little bit thinner. All right. And just only certain areas, and then we'll call it done. And then we'll do the draw for the course giveaway. And when doing white highlights, remember that you need to build your tones, so don't try and hit it in one sort of hit. Work back over the top. Let the air dry it in between, and then that way you'll get a brighter coverage. White is the most difficult color to use. It's going to give you the most tip drying. But once you get your mix right, and you'll find that you'll get used to it. And also don't go over everything. If less is more, you really want to just go subtle with your white. You can kill it pretty quickly. Okay. Alrighty, let's leave it at that. Let's have a bit of a look at the completed artwork. Now don't go. If you want to win the course, hang around. I'm going to draw that next. But there we have the finished painting. Now this painting as well will be available if you wish to bid on it. Then you can come over to our website and you'll see here that it's currently live. $149.95 plus GST is the starting bid. So I would charge a hell of a lot more for this if I was commissioned. So this is an opportunity for you to own the original art that you see painted here. It'll be signed. It's a one-off. So if you're interested, jump over, place your bids. And if you are located overseas, don't freak out. We will send it to you. No problem at all. Just reach out to us if you have any problems. But that is live on our website at the moment. And that is within the the shop section, and you go to my original paintings and you'll see them there. So we've currently got the lightning one from last week and this one as well. So that is that. If you want anything from SPRAYGUNNER, our sponsors, then SPRAYGUNNER.com. Like I mentioned earlier, they sell all sorts of things: airbrush compressors, airbrushes, paintables, surface preparation, stencils, masking, spray guns, the whole lot. So check them out, and thanks again to them for sponsoring this stream. And I just realized I didn't share that. So there you go. So sorry. Our sponsor, SPRAYGUNNER. So this is their website, SPRAYGUNNER.com. They have all sorts of stuff: airbrushes, paintables, masking materials. So check them out, SPRAYGUNNER.com. And thank you to them for sponsoring. We do really appreciate it. And now let me just get this sorted out. Right. So I want you, or anyone that's interested in entering into the competition to win our course, I need you to type in the comments #zombie. So just type that in the comments now, and you'll automatically be put into the draw, and I'll give you some time to do that while I scroll through some comments. So #zombie in the comments if you're interested, and it will collect your entry and then we will draw it. We've got 41 people in here, so we should be able to get some decent entries in. So this is your chance. $199 US worth of value. We're going to give it away. So #zombie. I don't think it's case sensitive, and you can enter from any platform, I believe. So we're up to 9 entries. Looking good. So #zombie. Keep going with that. I'm going to keep my eyes on it for the moment and just flick through. Someone in Australia needs to stock Krios parts and needles. Yes, we will have some of those, I'm hoping. So #zombie, guys. We're nearly up to 15. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds to do that. So #zombie. Doesn't cost anything to enter, so just go ahead and enter. Okay, almost ready to draw. 10 more seconds. I'll give you 9, 8, 7. #zombie. Get them in there. And here we go. Okay, we are going to draw. See who wins. Drum roll. And the winner is Leanne Simu, congratulations. I'm going to screenshot this. So congratulations to you. So what I need you to do, and I'll explain this hopefully nice and clear for you. I need you to email us at info@airbrushasylum.com.au. Hang on a sec, you're not seeing what I'm putting up, I don't think. Okay, so email us please at info@airbrushasylum.com.au. Let us know that you have won, obviously, your username. If you can even send a message on Facebook or any of the platforms we're on with that username, that's even better because it makes it easier for us to verify you. Once you've done that, visit Airbrush. I'll just hang on a sec. Visit our online course platform, which is here. And what I need you to do is go to the free preview. So when you go to airbrushasylum.thinkific.com, go on the free preview. If you haven't done this already, some of you have already signed up. Sign up to the free preview. Right, so you just put your details in there, hit sign up, and I'll see your name within that sign up, and then I can activate your course once we've obviously verified that it's you. So again, congratulations. Let me just see if I can pull that screen back up again. Hang on a sec. There we go. Congratulations again to you, Leanne. It's fantastic. Look forward to seeing you in the course. Thank you to every single one of you for joining. We really do appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. I've got to work out what we're going to be painting or what I'm going to be painting. So stick around for that. Again, thanks to our sponsors. And here, that's our sponsor, SPRAYGUNNER. And just before we go, there's the completed artwork. So hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to own it, like I said, jump over onto our website and bid on it. It'll be up for bidding for a while, I think for till next week. So yeah, jump on and place a bid and you could own this original artwork. So there you have it. Thank you very much for joining. I'll see you again next week. Take care. Grab your airbrush, do some airbrushing, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.